Hello everyone, today the topic which we're going to study is jugular venous pressure or the jugular venous pulse, shortly called as JVP. What is JVP? JVP is a clinical method in which we measure pressure in internal jugular vein which correspond to the pressure in right atrium. So how we measure the jugular venous pressure? Let's study the anatomy of neck. The neck consists of two jugular veins, internal jugular vein and the external jugular vein. The internal jugular vein lies deep to the sternocleidomastoid muscle, while the external jugular vein lies more superficially. For the measuring of JVP, we use internal jugular vein. Why we don't use the external jugular vein? It is primarily of two reasons. The first one is that the external jugular vein, there are valve at its junction with superior vena cava, so it can't truly reflect the right atrial pressure. And the second one is that the external jugular vein is more superficial, so it is easily affected with local pressure. So due to these two reasons, we use the internal jugular vein, and we use the right sided internal jugular vein because the right side is more in line with superior vena cava. To measure the JVP clinically, we propped up the patient at 45 degree. If there is an increased right atrial pressure, there will be a visible venous pulsation in neck. After that, we tilt the head of the patient toward the left side and we notice the venous pulsation more clearly. After that, we put a light diagonally to visualize this venous pulsation. Once the upper limit of venous pulsation is determined, we measure the JVP by two pencil method. In this method, a pencil is placed vertically above the sternal angle and the second pencil is placed horizontally from the upper limit of venous pulsation. The point at which the vertical pencil crosses the horizontal pencil, we measure the distance from this point toward the sternal angle, and this will give us the JVP. Normally it should be less than 3 centimeter. If it's more than 3 centimeter, we say that a patient have a raised JVP, mean that patient will be suffering from increased right atrial pressure, and it most commonly occur in right ventricular failure, constrictive pericarditis, pericardial effusion and tricuspid valve disease or any fluid overload state. So this is how we measure JVP clinically. Now let's study the waveform of JVP. The JVP consists of A wave, then X descent, then C wave, then X prime descent, then V wave and then Y descent. These waves and descent correspond to different activity of a heart. The A wave correspond to the atrial contraction. When the atria start contracting, it will push the blood forward, but along with the forward movement, the atria will push the blood backward. So the blood will start accumulating in internal jugular vein and it reflects as a wave called as a wave. After this, there will be an X descent, mean that after contraction, there will be a relaxation of the right atria. So the blood from the internal jugular vein will again start accumulating into right atria. So it will give the X descent. After this, there will be a closure of the tricuspid valve and there will be a contraction of the right ventricle. So the tricuspid valve will flip backward into the right ventricle, and this activity is reflected as a C wave on JVP waveform. The next thing on ECG waveform is the X prime descent. As we say up till now that the right ventricle is contracting. When the right ventricle contract, it will push a blood and it will create extra space in a pericardium. Due to this extra space in a pericardium, the right atria will fill passively, and this is reflected as the X prime descent on JVP waveform. After this, there will be a atrial filling due to the closed tricuspid valve, mean that the atria will now fill but against a closed tricuspid valve. So the blood will start accumulating in the right atria and this accumulating blood will reflect it in the internal jugular vein. So again it will form a wave, and this wave is now called as V wave. And now when the tricuspid valve will open and the blood will start moving from the right atria toward the right ventricle, it will reflect it as a Y descent. So in short, the A wave reflect the atrial contraction, the X wave reflect the atrial relaxation, the C wave reflect the closure of the tricuspid valve and the contraction of the right ventricle, the X prime descent reflect the passive filling of the right atrium, the V wave reflect the filling of the right atrium against a closed tricuspid valve, and the wide descent represent the passage of a blood from the right atrium toward the right ventricle, leading to decreased pressure in right atrium. Now a question arises that how we will differentiate that whether it's a wave or whether it's a V wave. To differentiate it, we compare the venous pulsation with carotid pulsation, which represent the systole. So the A wave is a pre-systolic. It means that it will occur before the carotid pulsation, while the V wave is a late systolic. It will occur after the carotid pulsation. It was all about the normal JVP waveform, that how we will interpret the normal JVP waveform. Now let's study certain pathological JVP waveform. The first one is the absent A wave. The absent A wave occur in atrial fibrillation. Why it occurs in atrial fibrillation? As we discussed previously that the A wave reflects the atrial contraction. So in atrial fibrillation there will be a disorganized atrial contraction which will lead to absent A wave. The second one is the large A wave. The large A wave occur when they due to right atrial or the right ventricular hypertrophy, which is secondary to pulmonary hypertension or pulmonary stenosis. The third one is the Cannon A wave. The Cannon A wave occur when the right atria contract against a closed tricuspid valve. It occur in the atrioventricular dissociation such as a complete heart block. And the fourth one is the large V wave. The large V wave occur in tricuspid regurgitation. The last pathological phenomena associated with jugular venous pressure is a Kussmaul sign. What is Kussmaul sign? The Kussmaul sign is a rise in JVP with inspiration. In normal condition, there will be a fall in JVP with inspiration because in inspiration we decrease the intrathoracic pressure, so the more blood will passes from the heart toward the lung. So there will be a fall in JVP with inspiration. But in Kussmaul sign, there will be a rise in JVP because the heart will fail to expand due to in response to inspiration, and it usually occur in constrictive pericarditis. So it was all about the JVP. Now the last thing which I want to discuss is that in the neck there are arterial and venous pulsation. People often confuse the arterial and venous pulsation. So here we will discuss some differentiating point between arterial and venous pulsation. Venous pulsation have a definite upper limit, mean that it represents the transition point between the distended and collapsed part. And the venous pulsation is affected by change in posture, respiration and pressing abdomen called as the abdominal jugular reflex. It increases when we press the abdomen. Apart from that, there are two venous pulsation for one arterial pulsation. Along with that, the inward movement is more prominent in venous pulsation and the venous pulsation are wavy in nature. While the arterial pressure are constant, it do not change with posture, respiration and pressing abdomen, and there are only one arterial pulsation and it have a greater outward movement. When we put a finger on the arterial pulse, it will show a tapping nature. When we press the arterial pressure, it do not change with applying pressure, while the venous pulsation changes with it. So it was all about the changes, how we will differentiate between the venous and the arterial pulsation. So it was all about the jugular venous pressure. I discussed almost everything which is important from clinical and exam point of view. Hopefully you guys will enjoy and stay tuned for more update.